Yes. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to talk to you all shortly. My name is Mensa Al-Kibalan. I am founder and tech lead at Universal Equations. I just wanted to, talk a few minutes about a new trend in IT, it's relatively new, called intelligent automation. And some people call it, or IA for short, some people call it intelligent process automation, or IPA for short. So a lot of things come to mind. I felt like it was a good topic because it's one of those topics that can go from 0 to 60 real quick, because you have things, because it's centered around processes. So the best way I look at it, and we can even take a step back from that, is just thinking about the whole idea of digital transformation, right? So that's kind of, you hear that everywhere now. You can turn on the television and someone's talking about what they can do for your digital transformation journey. You know what I mean? Get all that. So this definitely falls under that umbrella, because digital transformation is kind of what it sounds like, right? You're trying to modernize your processes, trying to keep up with the Joneses, etc. You're trying to do more for your customers, make your employees more productive, etc. You know what I mean? That's this is business. That's the bottom line. Or even if you have like a government organization, same concept applies. You're trying to do more, make it easier on your customers, and you're also trying to make it easier for your employees to serve the customers. And we mean the customer in a very broad sense of the word, because even if you're talking about a library, I mean, that's, a person comes in, checks out a book, that's a customer. You know what I mean? So we mean that in a very broad sense of the word. So from digital transformation, one of the things, because we already had things like business process management, my old school folks, we know what BPM is. We know about all that, the BPM stuff. So, orchestrating processes, we knew about rules engines, etc. I mean, we know about all that. Okay. But then we get into something which is a little bit more modern, called robotic process automation, which is kind of, it was a natural progression. As the technologies got better, it was just natural that we would move into robotic process automation. So with that, and a lot of this stuff, I'm really simplifying, because that's what you do at first, right? You simplify things and then you can kind of build on it as your understanding grows, right? So with robotic process automation, essentially you're trying to let machines do, machine processes, highly repetitive tasks, etc. Stuff that is tedious. I like, that's probably my favorite word. Tedious stuff that, human beings, well, at least the normal ones. There are people that like tedious tasks, but most human beings don't feel like doing. If you're moving a file from this directory to that directory, that's a tedious task that, you just don't really feel like doing a whole lot of times. I mean, it's not like fulfilling, you know what I mean? And that's not like interacting with a customer, you know what I mean, in that type of way. So that's the type of stuff that robotic process automation would take care of. Machines doing machine-like stuff, and human beings doing human being type stuff. Okay, all makes sense, right? Very, very easy to understand. But see, this is where the jump occurs, because now we're saying with intelligent process automation, what we're saying is we're going to augment robotic process automation, and we're going to augment that with artificial intelligence, roughly. Those are the two main technologies. Some say three, some will throw business process management in there. Some will, take business process management out and add in three other technologies, but you always have the robotic process automation, and you always have the artificial intelligence. So I will focus on that, because like I said, we are trying to simplify this as much as possible, and then we can build later. Because what happens is, I mean, this stuff changes all the time, right? So you get into it, you get an understanding, then you're ready to do research. You do research, challenges the status quo. It challenges the current paradigms. But you do want to have those essentials in place while you do that. Otherwise, you're just going to be spinning your wheels. Right. So we got the robotic process automation. We have the artificial intelligence. Now, this is why this is kind of complicated, because you know what artificial intelligence is. You're trying to mimic the human intelligence. So if you're going from the thought that let's let the machines do the machine stuff and the human beings do the human being stuff, then you throw in artificial intelligence, which you got a technology that's kind of sort of trying to do human being stuff. So that's how it goes from 0 to 60. And I'll give you a basic example of that. You see it in things like managing a communication network. That's something that we probably couldn't do before, just because of the complexity of communication networks. I mean, you go to people like Ericsson, people like that are in that space. They work on stuff like that, trying to maintain communication network. Another example that you don't got to be a telecom person to get is processing documents. Because the thing is, I mean, every document's kind of different, right? But you can have a lot of documents. You know what I mean? So you're doing these repetitive tasks, but they're not like really simple. They're not like rigid. Because when we're talking about robotic process automation, we're talking about fairly rigid tasks. And that's kind of where the robotic process automation, where its efficiency stops. I mean, you're going to see a lot of efficiency with robotic process automation implementations, but it is going to stop at some point, because you're going to get into tasks that are a little bit too complex for RPA to handle. So that's where you try to incorporate the artificial intelligence. You're talking about things like chat bots and digital workers and stuff like that. But with that, you're trying to figure out, how do I do more complicated things? Like, say, with a chat bot, you're trying to have a conversation with a customer. You know what I mean? So it's not like rigid, but if most customers are asking some of the same questions, then maybe that's something that you can do, right, at scale. You know what I mean? At scale. Because that's the key. You're doing this at scale. If you only got a couple customers, then a human being can do it, right? But if you got a large number of customers, you may want these bots, handling at least the initial intake of customers, and then maybe you can direct them, if need be, to an actual human being. But yeah, reading documents, and I mean the examples are endless. I mean, we know what documents are. We know everyone's paperwork, everyone's documents are different. But it's like, how do you do that in a methodical way? Can we do that in a methodical way? That's the question. And that's the type of stuff we talk about. Technologies like computer vision, other things that we associate with artificial intelligence. That's where that's where the intelligent automation begins, or the intelligent process automation begins, IAIPA. So hopefully here, and I probably should mention some of the leaders, you know what I mean? So you can actually, go to some of these people's websites and try to get more information. IBM, I would look at Automation Anywhere. Those are two just right off the top of my head, and I would go there and get a sense of some of the stuff that they're working on. Company like Blue Prism, they definitely made a name for themselves in the RPA space. They're getting into the intelligent process automation space as well. Wouldn't hurt to look at some of the stuff Blue Prism is doing. So, but I think you have enough to get you started, and I'm sure this is not the last time we'll talk about intelligent automation or something tangential to it. But yes, thank you for your time, and definitely subscribe to this channel. click the like button, and we'll try to keep the content coming. We'll try to keep improving it, making it better quality, etc. All right, so I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.